Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into the mind of cognitive scientist Steven Pinker to tackle something that drives us all crazy. Why is so much writing just so bad? And more importantly, how can we make ours better? To get a feel for what we're up against, just take a look at this sentence.
Yeah, believe it or not, that was the first sentence of a real book. A book written by a very, very smart person. And if you're anything like me, reading that probably makes you wonder,
right? What is going on here? Why is so much writing, especially from people who are supposed to be experts, so completely impossible to get through? Are they just trying to sound smart? Or maybe hiding the fact they have nothing to say? Well, Pinker argues something else is going on entirely.
Now, what's fascinating is that this isn't some newfangled problem. Pinker points out that people have been complaining about the quality of writing for as long as writing has existed. We've literally found ancient Sumerian clay tablets where scribes are moaning about how the kids these days can't write. But Pinker says there's a modern, scientific reason for our struggle.
See, according to Pinker, most bad writing isn't done on purpose. The writers aren't trying to confuse you or show off how many big words they know. The real problem is that they're a victim of a universal and kind of powerful psychological blind spot. It's a glitch in our own thinking.
And that glitch, it has a name. It's called the curse of knowledge. And this single concept, this one idea, is probably the best explanation for why really smart, well-meaning people can produce such terrible, terrible prose. Just think about that for a second. When you become an expert in something, anything really, your brain starts to package all that info into abstract chunks. You develop your own private language, a kind of mental shorthand. And the curse is that you completely, utterly forget that your reader hasn't learned that same shorthand. What's become crystal clear to you is a total mystery to them. And this isn't just some abstract theory. The curse shows up on the page in really specific ways. You use jargon and acronyms without defining them. You jump from point A to point D because, well, B and C are just so obvious, to you anyway. You use a big abstract concept because you've forgotten all the concrete little things that it's made of. It's a cognitive trap, and honestly, we all fall into it. So if the problem is a cognitive curse, what's the solution? How do you break the spell? Well, Pinker's answer isn't a long list of grammar rules. It's a total shift in how you think about writing. It's about adopting something he calls classic style. The key metaphor here is vision. Imagine the writer sees something true and important out in the world. Their job isn't to stand in front of the window and talk about themselves or their field of study. No, their job is to make the glass of their prose so clean and clear that the reader can look right through it and see that truth for themselves. And this just shows the difference perfectly. On the left, you have that stuffy prose that's all about what the psychologists are doing. It's all about the writer. But on the right, in classic style, we're not looking at the writer at all. We are looking through their window, straight at this incredible topic. How do kids learn language? It's a conversation with you, the reader, not a memo to a committee. Another huge part of classic style is killing what Pinker calls zombie nouns. These are those big, abstract nouns, the ones ending in tation or idity or ment, that just suck all the life out of your writing. The sentence on the left is a shambling mess of these zombies like prospects and reconciliation. But the one on the right, it brings it all back to life with punchy, active verbs. Try to change, reducing prejudice. It's direct, it's clear, and it treats you like an intelligent person. Okay, so adopting classic style, that's the goal. But how do you actually get that sense? Pinker says it's a skill you learn, not from some dusty rule book, but by becoming a better, more thoughtful reader of what's already out there. Take this absolutely incredible opening from Richard Dawkins. Pinker uses this as an example of powerful prose. Why does it work? Well, it doesn't start with some boring intro. It hits you with a mind-bending paradox that immediately grabs your attention. The words are simple, the rhythm is perfect, and in 2 short sentences, it completely flips how you think about life and death. So here's the game plan. Instead of trying to memorize a bunch of rules, you need to train your writer's ear. When you read a sentence or a paragraph that just works, that feels clear and elegant, stop. Ask yourself, why? What did the author do here? Was it a cool metaphor?
The rhythm of the sentence? The word choice? By breaking it down like that, you start to absorb those techniques for yourself. All right, this brings us to one of the most freeing, most wonderful parts of Pinker's whole argument, and that's learning what not to worry about. Specifically, all those bogus grammar rules that have been stressing us out for years.
This has got to be the most famous zombie rule of all time. This idea that you can't end a sentence with a preposition, it's pure superstition. It's not a real rule. Trying to avoid it leads to those awful, clunky sentences like, "That is a situation up with which I will not put." Please, just don't do that. It sounds way more natural to say, "That's a situation I won't put up with."
And then you've got the infamous split infinitive. I'm going to tell you, the crew of the Starship Enterprise had it right all along. To boldly go is so much clearer and punchier than to go boldly. Pinker calls this fake rule pernicious, and his advice is simple. Just ignore it. Good style is about being effective, not about following fake rules from 100 years ago.
And really, that's the whole ball game. That's the main takeaway. Writing isn't about passing a grammar test from 1918. It's an act of communication. It's about beating the curse of knowledge by constantly, consciously, trying to see the world from your reader's point of view.
I want to end with this quote from Pinker because, it just nails it. At the end of the day, good writing is so much more than a technical skill. It's an act of empathy. It's a way of being kind to your reader. It's about building a solid bridge from your mind into theirs. And really, what could be more important than that?